Hello, we're doing a transmission on a 5.0 Eddie Bauer Edition 99 Explorer. We already dropped the transfer case, it's sitting over there. We've got most of the bolts out of the transmission, all the linkages and everything's disconnected. You got a linkage here, you got a disconnect, all that. I already got the flywheel disconnected, the flex plate. I got all the wiring harnesses disconnected. You can see some of them hanging there. Don't forget, you got some on the other side too. Yeah, so the real tricky part is if you can't get the exhaust off without cutting it, and you don't want to cut it, you're gonna have a really tricky time trying to get the bolts out of this area here. What I did was I removed this cover and the wheel well cover, and here's the light. Okay. And you got access to, there's a bolt here, there's a bolt down here, and then there's one up here at the top. And I left that one in the top there. That's the only thing holding this transmission in right now besides the transcooler lines. I'm having one hell of a time getting these transcooler lines out. Okay, so let's come over here. And you can see I've been trying to get this dipstick to lift out, but I can't get it out either. It's unbolted and everything. It just won't pull itself out of there. I'm thinking whenever I lower it, it'll come out. But there's the transcooler lines. And as you can see, the exhaust is right in the way to get in there with the wrench. So with that crow's foot wrench, I swear, bro, like I cannot get in there for the life of me. I think I broke that one free a little bit, the lower one, but there's one right above it too, and I cannot for the life of me get in there to get those removed. So we might have to remove the exhaust. I'm not sure yet. Alright guys, so as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts on the transfer case. That disconnects the transfer case from the transmission. You gotta take this cross member out as well. I think on this one it's just in the middle piece that comes out. These pieces on the edge, these end caps, they don't come out. They're bolted in there and welded as well. I think this plate on the outside will, but the one on the inside does not come out as far as I can tell. You can see there what I'm talking about. This plate here will come off, but the one on the inside is welded to the chassis. So there's really no point in removing it. But you should have plenty of clearance to remove the transmission once you get everything unbolted. So if anybody else has any questions, this one did not have the drive shaft in originally, the front drive shaft. For whatever reason, they disconnected that from the transfer case, which is not a big deal or anything. You're just running it real well. So we disconnected the rear drive shaft, and make sure you mark the drive shaft. As you can see here, I marked the bottom of it so that you can line it up perfectly with the transfer case whenever you put it back in, so the timing isn't off. Yeah, there should be a vac line on that transfer case too. You can see it's hanging here. It broke off whenever we were removing it. Not a big deal. There should be plenty there to still use it. Broke off at the nipple, so not a big deal. Can't really think of anything else to tell you. Make sure you drain all the fluids out of your transmission before removing it. I think I forgot to drain the transfer case, so it's probably sitting over leaking. No, it's not leaking, but it's sitting there full of fluid. So no big deal. Not a big deal at all. It won't leak. Okay, so back to the transcooler lines. As soon as I remove these transcooler lines, we're good to lower this a little bit and see if we can gain clearance around this exhaust. If anybody knows anything about the exhaust and whether or not I have to remove the exhaust on a 5.0 just to get the transmission out, please let me know in the comments. let me know immediately, because we're in the middle of this job and I'm trying to get around this exhaust, and I really am not sure if I'm gonna have to cut it or remove it or break the bolts or cut the bolts. What? I don't know, because they will not break free. I've hit them with PV Blaster 2 or 3 times, and I've tried to fucking torque on them and torque on them. I've tried impacts, everything. Nothing will break that exhaust bolt free. So instead of cutting it off and leaving the bolts hanging in the exhaust manifold, I'm just gonna fucking I'm just gonna leave it in there for now and try to work around it. Try. hopefully we'll be able to get these transcooler lines off. It's gonna be tricky. Alright guys, well, any suggestions, please leave them in the comments section. Once again, this is Scarecrow here at Southern Automotive in Bloomington, Indiana. Thanks. Peace out.